Hello Leo friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Leo September 2024 Astrology Horoscope Forecast. I'm calling the theme of this month for Leos, fortune, fate, and freedom, and I will get into all of that. This is for you if Leo is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Leo placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. And if you're very late degree Leo friends, so birthdays like August 15th through the rest of the sign, or Leo degrees like 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Virgo report, as your very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. This may be one of the most intense months of the year. We are actively in eclipse season. We've got a September 17th lunar eclipse at 25 degrees of Pisces. This is the introduction of a new polarity, the Pisces Virgo axis, to the storyline that's already running of the Aries Libra eclipses. Those won't run out until we have this time and then next season, about 6 months from now. And then that Aries Libra one will come to its conclusion. So concurrently, we will have a new series of themes going on, and we will talk at length about that and what you can expect from what is going on there. But I gave you a little hint in the title, so we'll talk more about that. Also, there are so many other things to discuss, so it's my intention to equip you to help you make the most of this month as possible by understanding the astrological rhythms so that you can align with them instead of trying to work against them, and that you can make the most of the starry opportunities. Okay, so I'm going to work in order of the faster moving transits, the ones that you'll definitely be feeling and can definitely use, but that will, blow through quicker and then sort of be on to the next thing. And then we'll build up to these longer term transits and the epic eclipse events. And that will be in standing through 2027. So we'll kind of build the storyline up. So the fingers of fate are actively weaving your destiny here. So I'm going to give you the threads that are weaving that fabric. All right, the first thing to know is that we have star goddess Estrella, the sun, Vesta, soon to be Mercury, all moving through the sign of Virgo. September 2nd, we also have an 11-degree Virgo new moon, adding to the Virgo party. An extraordinary amount of energy here in Virgo. In general, that brings a great opportunity for tedious, disciplined focus, a great time for committing to something, especially if it's long-term and it's between September 12th and October 7th is the best time we have for long-term commitments and arrangements and contracts well into 2025. Okay, so this is the last open window for your personal planet retrogrades. I'll get back to that, but I want to list it here. So when you're doing something, important or committing to something which the Virgo energies may make you ready to do, you've got, this window to really work with some long-term things. So this month really represents a taming, a calming down from the Leo party that we've just had. And as a fellow fire sign with you, I love the Leo party because it makes trines to my Sagittarius placements. But we know it can get us burnt out. It can get us, just burning out of control. And sometimes we have way too much fun, which is what Leo energy is very much about. Being alive and enjoying life and vivacious and bubbly energy, just rolling through. So now is the time to get back to work, back to basics, back to the schedule, back to the routine, and hopefully build new layers of your routine with the Leo inspiration that you just came out of. So that's what's happening there. It's a time when it's really good to do things like health checkups because Virgo rules health. It's a time to make your new moon wishes in the days around September 2nd for your vibrant health goals, for your efficiency, for working smarter instead of harder, for anything involving the 6th house, which has to do with your work, like your daily work. Not necessarily your career part of the work, but just like the daily grind, the daily work, the office space. This is a time to make wishes for and work on things involving your pets and animals and your connections with animals. So all of that is happening there. If you have to schedule some diagnostics, health diagnostics, surgeries and stuff, picking a surgery date is way more complex than I can speak to in a general transit. But I can say that September 12th to October 7th is a range of time where you're not going to be dealing with personal planet retrograde factors that tend to complicate getting clear information and scheduling important things. Okay, so, those dates could be helpful to trying to nail something down or get some clarity about something. In celebration of the Virgo time, when you go to anniehelpsyou.com, put your name and email address there. That link is in the notes underneath the podcast and the video, and it will be again at the end. Then that's one of the other perks you get when you join my free VIP community. In the welcome letter, you'll have my health tips for each of the zodiac signs that can support your focus on health at this time. Now, specifically, when the planets are in Virgo, this highlights specifically for Leo the second house of finances and money. And this story is occurring in the short term, and this story is linked to the long-term eclipse story, which we're going to get into more of, but I want to mention it now because we're building this storyline here. So, this is your earned income. This has to do with your financial consciousness, your financial IQ, your self-esteem around money, what you think your work is worth, and your confidence in asserting that and receiving that. So there's a lot of this story of fortune and fate and freedom centered around your actual personal income at this time. And that's another thing that you can do your wishes about in the days around the new moon. That's another thing that you can use your strategy. You can use your launches or big, important dates for the September 12th through October 7th. Remember that if you haven't listened to my reports before, this will be new to you. If you have, this will just be a reminder of what time we're in. So I like to liken the retrograde versus the direct time to, being on the shore of a beach, and during the September 12th through October 7th, the tides are going out. So anything you put in the water will go out, your boat to get free of the island, your message in a bottle. So symbolically, any of those things that you want to go far and wide without having to paddle as much, those are the things you want to do in that time. Launches, big important dates, commitments, etc., that you want to be in effect for a long time, because as of October 7th, the tides will start to turn and they'll start coming in. And so, in that shadow period, when you start to throw something out, it might not roll back in yet, but it's not going out. It's kind of in this weird in between. As it goes past the 7th every day, the tides are coming in more and more, which means that when you try to put something out into the world, symbolically the water here, but we're talking about you putting out things into the world, they're not going. They're just staying stuck, or there's interference to your progress, or, they're not going as far and wide as you want them to for as long. So retrogrades are amazing for a lot of things. This is one of my areas of expertise, and I will be talking about this more as we're in the time that's coming. But for the time that we're in now, this is the time where you want to be the spider and actively weave webs all over, so that in the retrograde they can be catching food for you. Okay, so because then you'll be on the beach waiting to see what the tides bring in and dealing with it, rather than trying to push anything out. So this is a more proactive time. This is a more assertive time. This is a time to make things happen. It's a time to use that strong, disciplined Virgo energy to take action, and you have all the support you need to do that. And a lot of your actions may be in health stuff, and a lot of your actions may be in money stuff. You may be making a big purchase. This could also happen. Second house transits like this can mean you're buying something you've wanted forever. And these dates can be great for buying something that you've been wanting forever, a big high ticket item, or a sale that brings you money. Okay, so the next story is that as Mercury and then the Sun and progress, they'll move into Libra, and they'll join Venus, Lilith, Juno, and transiting South Node. And the Libra energy is going to have a lot of support for the short and long term now too, because Libra has to do with relationships and connections with other people and your relationship to relationship. So that is being activated in the short term from these planets just spinning through those signs relatively quickly. But what's not relatively quick is the Aries Libra eclipse cycle. We've got that October 2nd solar eclipse at 10 degrees of Libra. This is the second to last eclipse in that cycle that started in 2023 and is going into the first half of 2025. Me versus we, that's the storyline. And specifically for Leos, this has been activating your education sector. So teaching, learning, bringing information in, taking it out, that's all going to be very active. And even though the eclipse is until October 2nd, we're well in eclipse season. So you can feel the energy from both eclipses in September and October. So the September eclipse is on the 17th. We're going to go into that in a few minutes here, but I just wanted to kind of weave these stories because they are happening all at the same time. The third house has to do with mobility, your physical mobility, your driving your devices, your communication devices, communicating with other people, as I said, taking information in and out. So that's going to be very busy. It's also a very social house. So you may find that you're seeing a lot of people, talking to a lot of people, interacting, having correspondence, going back and forth. And if you want clarity and ease in that process, these dates, September 12th through October 7th, are, back to, you'll notice that things might become a little bit more labored. Now, Mars doesn't officially rule communication like Mercury does, and it's not a Mercury thing. But until September 12th, we're still getting out of the web of the previous Mercury retrograde. So, there is a line of differentiation here where after the 12th, communications can be a little bit easier. But the story of communication in the long term is definitely very active. Okay, so now moving to the next timeline of what's occurring and for how long is Mars. Mars is about to move into Cancer, and for Leos, this is your 12th house. So normally this transit would be around a couple of months, and so that's kind of a while to be working with something. But because Mars is going to go into retrograde, partly in Cancer, partly in Leo, which is going to be very interesting for you, right? Because this is your sign. So as the Mars retrograde develops, we'll be getting a lot more into that. But for now, Mars is not there yet. It will be in Cancer. So from now well into 2025, we'll be dealing with the stories of Mars activating home and family and real estate and housing, and your deep inner emotional psychological space, like your childhood psychology, things involving your mother or maternal figures or you as a mother. So that's going to be happening. It's getting started now. Now, specifically for Leo, this is going to activate the 12th house, which is your house of quiet personal pursuits, your inner realm, your deep, connection to your ancestral goodies, gold and garbage, your, genetic helpers and harmers, all of the things in that cosmic soup that is, kind of unnameable and in some cases untamable is, it's really active. So best advice here is Mars retrograde is really great for inner work, but especially because it's moving through one of your water houses and the 12th house in particular, this is a time to just deal with issues that you haven't wanted to deal with. It's a time to deal with your fears, confront them, slay your dragons, and you may need support doing that and finding the help that you need. And since we have all of this Libra energy, including a Libra eclipse, which is a solar eclipse, which is bringing in new relationship energy, you may find your perfect practitioners. So for that stubborn loop of consciousness that you've been stuck, winging around in, you may actually be able to do something with that at this time. All right, so then we've got Jupiter as of May 2024 through June 2025, activating your 11th house. And this can expand your friendship circles. This can expand your networks in general, expand your online presence. So you've got more activity of that this month if you're trying to do something with a community project or do something, of long-lasting, hopefully long-lasting value. You can use those dates, September 12th through October 7th, to activate Jupiterian prospects in those realms. Okay, so let's add the big dog here. Pisces Virgo eclipse cycle that is even more intricately related to this fortune, fate, and freedom. We've been talking about some of the mini stories going on, but now we're going to build. All of this Virgo energy, first thing to know here, all of this Virgo energy that I talked about for the short term, those things are going to pass. But what's not going to pass anytime soon is the axis of the Pisces Virgo storyline that's related to the eclipses. Okay, so you've got a short-term extra concentration of Virgo Pisces. And we'll talk more about what that looks like. I mean, we've already given you quite a few layers of it. But, this eclipse cycle is going through 2027. So we've got the Aries Libra eclipse cycle going into 2025. That's concurrent, that's happening. Then September 17th, we have the full moon lunar eclipse at 25 degrees Pisces. That's officially going to happen in Leo's 8th house of birth, death, transformation, and rebirth. Pretty intense. So your money versus other people's money, your shared money for your individual money, your autonomy with money versus your dependency or your, responsibilities to other people. The 8th house has to do with sweepstakes and lotto and government money and loans and debt and credit. It also has to do with mining resources, either from under the earth, like precious metals, commodities, or it has to do with mining spiritual resources. And so this is a time, it can be a time of great spiritual, profound occurrences. The transformation and rebirth is unavoidable here. Okay, so this is happening. If you want to think back to similar themes, think back to 2015, 2016, and half of 2017, and then think back further if you were around 2006, 2007, and to the first half of 2008. That's when these Pisces eclipse cycles happened again, or this cycle happened again. So some of the my money versus our money, fortune, fame, fate, or not fame, fortune, fate, freedom, this is very much about empowerment. And that's what's up, so deep, profound changes involving rebirth, where you can emerge with a new sense of purpose and clarity after shedding old layers, very much the phoenix rising from the ashes here in this 8th house. This can have to do with financial matters, and maybe you're in the forefront with this, or maybe your spouse or some other family member that relates to you is going through something that's affecting you. That's the 8th house, other people's money. Investment opportunities can come, and if you want to do something new, not to say you can't invest when the retrogrades are happening, of course you can, but if you have to make a big decision about something, sometimes having that support, the September 12th or October 7th dates could come in, if you have to move money and launch something that you hope to be a long-term venture. There could be opportunities to invest in something new or reassess and transform existing financial commitments. Eclipses are very much about endings and beginnings, and they're very much related to the karmic cycles. So belief systems that we had that are creating certain experiences to try to balance out those belief systems are what the eclipses are all about. So you may find that you can unhinge, unlock, break through, unleash power from really finally seeing the other side of something, seeing someone else's side, because often when we have a strong opinion about something or someone or something that someone's doing, it's showing a loop of consciousness that we're stuck in. And that if we want to free ourselves, we have to move into the understanding. And sometimes the universe creates circumstances that put us in a situation where we can better understand someone else. But we can also do this through deep spiritual work and introspection and asking. So shadow work, therapeutic practices, as I talked about before from the Mars in the 12th house thing, are also very activated with this eclipse cycle for the short and long term, because that is another water house. The 8th house is another water house, and these are the deep psychological houses. So we have so much going on in the water energies. Mars is going through Cancer, which rules the 4th house, which is the other water house. So, this is a time where emotions can reign supreme. And yeah, can it douse your fire? Absolutely. Can it make steam to be productive? Absolutely. But, this is a time when you're really going to be feeling it. Those beautiful, sizzling, creative, fiery things that went on in the time just before this. Now water's coming and it's going on it. And you could be like, just stop dampening my flame here, people, or circumstances or whatever it is. But there are purpose. This is purposeful. It can be helpful and peaceful to know that this is purposeful. There are reasons why this is happening. This can be a time of amazing exploration of mysteries. The 8th house is associated with the occult and metaphysics and the deeper mysteries of life. So you may feel more drawn to research these areas, and they may have important meaning for you. You may dive deeper into learning astrology, or numerology or tarot or something like that that's ruled by this space. It's definitely a time to embrace change because it is coming, and it is also a time to be prepared for holding space for other people. Eclipses tend to be that way. Definitely expect to feel like you have your fingers stuck in a light socket for, a couple months, because the anxiety and foreboding of knowing change is happening but not knowing what it is definitely, happening at this time. Now, it's not something to fear. I know it's hard to say something like that and then say, but don't be afraid, right? Because the first thing to know is that we can't do anything about it anyway. So breathing, staying alert, staying aware, trying to, make the most of what happens, to make lemonade out of whatever lemons come. And to also know that it doesn't necessarily have to be bad. And this is important. Intense change isn't always bad. It can be bittersweet. It can be emotional in a good way. It can be sad to let go of the chapter we're passing out of for the new chapter. But this can be completely empowering. The 8th house is the house of empowerment. So you could be stepping into a new level of empowerment beyond what you've ever experienced, and you could be starting a multiple year process of an empowerment process, getting freedom from addictions, 12th house things, getting freedom from power struggles, 8th house things, getting freedom from, family dramas, 4th house thing. These are the water houses. So it could be a time of setting boundaries. It could be a time of loosening boundaries. It's a time of shuffling around of resources and remembering a very important fact about money. Money is energy. People can make judgments on it, have opinions about money, have opinions about people with money or without money, but ultimately it's just energy. And the more we can think about money as energy, the more it can flow in and out of our lives in ways that can be fulfilling and not as stressful. So, this could be about a breakthrough in your financial consciousness as well. It can also be money coming to you through inheritance, sweepstakes, lotto, earnings, winnings, investments, random money. So that's where this fortune piece comes in, because this 8th house really relates to fortunes. It relates to legacy. It relates to, the divvying up of money or an estate planning, all of this. And the freedom that can come from the empowerment that comes from doing the work that this is offering for you is where that can most come in. And certainly fate. Fate is, like I said, the fingers of fate are actively weaving, especially at eclipse time, and you can start to see what they're weaving and what it's turning into at this time. Another important thing to know is that as information comes in, you may think, wow, this is final news, this is what's going on, but you probably don't know half of what is coming yet. So, you may want to hold off on making decisions about what you think you know, because as the cycle develops, you're going to understand more. And you might be in this stage of not knowing and having information and not knowing what it means for a while. So just knowing that can happen might give you some more peace. You have a lot of dates, or at least important dates, to focus on. If you want, this is actually a month where we have a ton of salty aspects too. So there'll be a lot of road bumps. This, like I said, this will be one of the most intense months of the whole year. If you go to anniehelpsyou.com and put your name and email address in there, you'll get my sweet and salty write-up for September. So you'll, in the archive link, just put September 2024 astrology and you'll find it there. Okay, so remember to subscribe, like, click the bell, and enable notifications to make sure that my reports get delivered right to where you can get them as soon as possible. If you want them even earlier, go to anniehelpsyou.com. Another perk you get when you join my free VIP community is you get access to my horoscope, my public horoscopes early. Okay, so just put your name and email address in here, click receive, look for my welcome letter in the inbox. Once you get it, you'll get the eclipse resource page link, you'll get the health tips link, you'll get my 28-day virtual coaching program, you can search for the September 2024 in the archive link to get the sweet and salty aspect dates. You can get my Train Your Brain audio, all of these goodies. And you will get mini astrology lessons as well. Now, if you want a more organized, structured learning of astrology, I am your girl. I've been an astrology teacher for decades. I've brought people, many, many people, to being able to earn money from their love of astrology. So if you scroll down and you click on Up Level, then you can see my courses, my Astrology Basics and Beyond course, or my Become a Professional Astrologer Master Certification course. And if you're listening to this anytime through the end of August, you will get $1,100 worth of free courses when you enroll in this course now. So you can see that there, or you can go to beastropro.com. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.